Hello, students. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the virtual world of business studies. Good afternoon, dear students. A warm welcome to a new session on staffing. This is part 4. Now, let me move to the next slide. And here we are going to talk about training and development. Let me first define what is training. So, training is an organized activity of increasing the knowledge and skill of employee for performing a particular job. Now, what is the importance of training? It helps to improve the performance of employee. It also makes them suitable for any intended job. Now, let us define development. It enables the overall growth of an employee. Let's look at its importance. It increases the capability of employees for accepting higher position. It is more future oriented and concerned with education of employees. Now let's move on to the next slide. Here the focus would be to understand the benefits of training and development for the organization and also for the employee. So let me first take up benefits of training and development to an organization. And the first point focuses on reduces wastage. Now let me explain in detail. In the absence of proper training, employees use hit and trial method to perform the tasks assigned to them, which leads to wastage of resources and effort. With the help of training, employees learn the systematic way of doing specific job. Now let's move on to the second benefit, which talks about enhances productivity. And how does that happen? Systematic processes help employees to perform tasks efficiently and effectively, leading to increased productivity and improved performance. Let's talk about the third point, which is reduce absenteeism and employee turnover. Now, how do we explain this? With effective training, employees are able to improve their performance. This also gives them job satisfaction and increases their confidence and satisfaction in work. Not only reduces absenteeism but also keeps employee content, leading to reduced turnover. Now let's go down to the next point, where we are talking about effective response. Training programs aim to upgrade employees' knowledge and skills, enabling them to respond positively to the economic and technical changes in the business environment. Let's move on to the next point, where we are talking about equips the future managers. Training improves managerial skills among employees, enabling them to manage enterprise in case of emergency. Now, let us talk about benefits of training and development to an employee. And the first one talks about better career prospects. Now, let me explain this. Training programs upgrade employees' knowledge and develops their skills and prepares them for higher responsibilities. It enables employees to take challenges and thus have better growth opportunities. Let's talk about the second point, which is higher earnings. And how does that happen? Training improves employee skills and helps them to manage activities effectively, leading to improved performance. This gives them opportunity to earn higher salaries or incentives. Let's talk about the third point, which is fewer accidents. Now, how does that happen? Training helps employees to learn the most effective ways of handling machines and jobs assigned to them. This increases their efficiency and reduces the risk of accidents. Now let's talk about the fourth point, which is increased employee morale. Training helps employees to complete the jobs assigned to them in an effective and efficient manner. This increases the job satisfaction and develops high morale among employees. Now, let's move on to the next slide. And here we are going to talk about the training methods. There are two ways in which workers can be trained. One is called as on-the-job training. And what does that mean? This is where a worker remains at their usual place of work and learns how to do their job. Now, examples would include teachers teaching in the classroom, doctors practicing in their hospitals. Let's come down to the second method, and this is called as off-the-job training. Now, this is where a worker is trained away from their usual workplace, and this may be at a training center or at a college or at a university. Let's move on to the next slide. And here we are going to talk about methods of training. Let us start with the first one, on-the-job training. And under on-the-job training, let us take up the first point, and this is apprenticeship. Now, apprenticeship is a method of training where an employee works under the guidance of a master worker to acquire higher level of skills. During the training period, the trainee receives salary in the form of stipend, which is lesser than the normal salary he or she may earn after being trained. The trainee requires a trainee to work under guidance of a master worker or a mentor, acquire the specifically designed higher level of skills required to enter the respective trade, spend prescribed amount or additional time to acquire skills. Now, let's move down to the second point, which is called as coaching. This is a method of training where a superior guides and instructs the trainee as a coach to learn skills and processes. Coaching involves setting of mutually agreed upon goals. Second, suggesting the means to achieve the agreed goals. Third, periodic review of trainees' performance to ensure that goals are achieved as planned in suggested ways to improve performance in case of any deviation. This training is suitable to prepare managers for future, train a subordinate who is eligible for a promotion to a higher position. Now let's move down to the third point, which is called as internship training. Internship training is the combined effort of the educational institutions and business organizations where selected candidates continue regular studies for a prescribed period and also work in a business enterprise for a specific period of time to acquire practical knowledge and skills. What does internship training involve? It involves joint effort of educational institutions and business enterprises. Second, educational institutions impart theoretical knowledge, whereas business enterprises impart practical knowledge. Third point, it brings the balance between the theoretical knowledge and practical skills required to perform a job. Now, where is it suitable? It is suitable by professional or technical organizations who prepare professionals for managerial positions or technical experts. Now, let's move down to the next one, and here we are going to talk about job rotation. Job rotation is a training method where members of staff rotate roles or tasks by shifting from one job to another or from one department to another so that they gain experience of a full range of jobs. Job rotation helps employees to have a broader understanding about the organization and learn skills to perform different types of functions or jobs. Job rotation helps staff to involve in operations of various departments and test his or her ability and aptitude. Second point, interact with employees of other departments and improve social relationship. Third, acquire skills to understand or undertake responsibilities at different levels within the organization. Now let's talk about suitability of job rotation. It is a method suitable to train employees for general management positions, transfer, promotion, and replacements. Now, let us move to the next part, and here we are going to talk about off-the-job training methods. And let us look at the first method, and this is called as classroom lecture or conference. Now let me explain this in detail. This method of training is used to convey job-related specific information or rules, regulations, procedures followed by the organization. Its main focus is to teach administrative or managerial aspects, and such training may use audio-visual techniques to make presentations interesting and increase retention among trainees. Now, let us talk about the suitability. It is used to train white-collar or managerial level employees. Let's move to the next method, and here we are going to talk about films. Companies may use films, televisions, video or presentations to provide information and demonstrate skills which may not be easily explained or taught through lectures or conferences. Let us talk about the suitability. This method is commonly used by educational institutions to teach important concepts, corporate sector to train social skill to employees, or by production supervisors to show the process of running the equipment. Now let's move on to the next method, and this is called as case study. Now let me explain. Case study is a written description of an actual business situation happened in the past. Managers may use these real life work related experiences to train employees to identify problems, analyze the causes, develop alternative solutions to solve problems, select the best alternative and implement it to solve the problem. Now let's talk about the suitability. This method is suitable to develop managerial skills among employees. Now let's talk about computer modeling. To begin, this method of training stimulates the work environment by programming a computer to imitate some of the realities of the job and allows learning to take place without the risk or high cost that would be incurred if a mistake is done in real life situation. Now, let's move on to the next method, and this is called vestibule training. It is a training technique which provides employees an opportunity to learn jobs on the equipment they will operate on actual workflow. Organizations create special training centers called vestibules, where a working environment is created which is almost a duplicate of the actual work environment. Now, qualified instructors train the employees under a carefully planned and controlled learning condition. Now let us talk about the suitability of this method. This method is used when an organization has to provide the same kind of training to a large number of people at the same time. Now let us talk about the last method, which is called as programmed. Now, programmed instructions incorporate a pre-arranged and proposed acquisition of some specific skills or general knowledge. Information is broken into meaningful units, and these units are arranged in a proper way to form a logical and sequential learning package, that is, from simple to complex. The trainee goes through these units by answering questions or filling the blanks. Now let us talk about the suitability of programmed instructions. This method of training is used to provide factual knowledge to employees. Let's move on to the next slide. And here I would thank all my students for listening patiently to me. I'll catch you in the next session with a new topic. Thank you.